Men are the prize, the podcast, another week, another great day. How you guys doing? I hope you're doing well, feeling good, loving life, appreciating the experience that is life and the people around you. I hope you're doing very well. As usual, I'm blessed, I guess, to have another great guest, a brother. I always makes me happy when I get black men on here. We're gonna get into it. We're gonna talk about stuff. Let's introduce him first. Dr. Leroy McKenzie Jr. Full name. How you doing today, doctor?
Hey, I'm absolutely as the old folks may say, blessed and highly favored. So
That's what's up. That's what's up. That's good to hear. That's good to hear. You're walking these streets. We woke up. It's a good day. And that's good.
exactly.
All right, man. So if you've watched or listened, you know I take pride in a good bio. I like it, it's
Mm.
a good bit of information on what some man has done. I'm gonna read it, get a drink, maybe get some tea, because this brother has done some stuff. Let's talk about it. Dr. Leroy McKenzie Jr., President and CEO of JNF Enterprises LLC. That's just the beginning. That's what's up. Dr. McKenzie Jr. is a native Baltimorean and a product of the Baltimore Public and Private school systems. He received his Bachelor of Science degree in Hotel Restaurant Management from the University of Maryland, Eastern Shore, and his honorary doctorate from the United Graduate College and Seminary International. He's a proud member of the new Psalmist Baptist Church. He is the president and CEO of JNF Enterprise LLC, which is a publishing and business consulting firm located in Baltimore, Maryland, focused on assisting others to bring their visions to reality. He is the co-founder and publisher of What's Up Baltimore Magazine, which is a magazine geared towards shining the light on entrepreneurs, politicians, businesses, and organizations that are having a positive impact in the communities that they serve. Dr. McKenzie Jr. is the author of 10 books, not five, not eight, 10 books, and a three-time Amazon bestseller. His Building the 21st Century Company book series has assisted entrepreneurs and organizations establish healthy work environments, maximize their productivity, and increase their bottom line. He serves on the board of several nonprofit organizations as well as involved with others. JNF Enterprises was started in 2004 with the publishing of Dr. McKenzie's debut books of poetry, The Inner Soul, volumes 1 and 2, and the launching of their Christian apparel line, Try Jesus. Believing in the vision that God placed in him, Leroy set out to put the distribution and publishing industries on notice that there was about to be a new way of doing business. Following the purpose, bringing vision to reality, JNF seeks to enlighten, empower, and impact the communities that it touches. They seek to provide emerging authors with an independent avenue to mainstream exposure and touch individuals with our Christian-based products. By being an impact-based company, they will add a strong foundation to business that will add instant credibility, integrity, and a general sense of courtesy to the business consulting and publishing industries. In this day and time, businesses have missed the mark in providing exceptional product and services, and JNF is poised to bring back the basics of business. Okay, sir. First of all, when did you have time to do all that? You look too young, brother. You're
I
exhausted.
want to know who that dude. I want to know who that dude is. I'm trying to meet him. He look like he going somewhere. You know what I'm saying? He gonna be something when he get older.
What? First of all, I applaud all that you've done. I applaud your grind. But my first question to you is when you hear your bio read back, what's that feeling like when you hear somebody listing your accomplishments? What's that feeling like? I don't have a bio like this. So I want to know what it feels like to hear all that. Talk to me.
You know what? And I was actually, as you were reading that, I was thinking about that very thing. And you don't, I know for me, as I'm doing the things that I've been, purposed to do and set out to do, you really don't. I know I haven't been one to think about it. It's just things that I wanted to accomplish, things that I wanted to do, things that I felt like were my assignment, is what I call them. They were my assignment to be able to go through. So it I sit back and I'm just like I marvel at what I have been able to kind of achieve, but I also know that it wasn't just me. One, it was first and foremost it was God, but then it's also been people who have supported me and have been there for me. And I'm talking, the good, the bad, and the ugly. In accomplishing the things that I've set out to accomplish and being a part of the organizations that I'm a part of because they are things that I wanted to one do, but then they tie into the foundation of my company, J&F Enterprises, which is to enlighten, empower, and impact, which is to teach people something, to equip people with something, and impact people to want to do something. So everything that I do has those three elements to it. So what you just read has to do with those three elements.
Excellent. That's a wonderful bio, but it shows just your desire, what you want to get accomplished, and what you want to do. So I was happy to read that. Now,
Thank you.
before I get into the mantra, which is prize, I have one question. The reason I'm always happy to have a black man on here is because I like talking about masculinity, but I like talking about black
Mm.
masculinity. I'm a black man. So obviously, like feminism, masculinity is different when it comes for the black man. Masculinity
Yeah.
for most people is one thing, just like femininity or feminism is something for women, but it's different for black women. So masculinity for black men is something different. So I want to start off with a little bit of a different question. When we talk about black masculinity, does sexuality need to be part of that conversation?
Yeah, I'm gonna say yes. I think it does because it's a part of masculinity and, like you said, femininity. That is who God created us to be. Part of who He created us to be. So it's a part of it, but it's not the totality of it. And I think where what has happened is society has placed masculinity with sexuality, our prowess as men, as that that strong masculine man has to do with us being able to how many I mean think about it, how many women we could sleep with. Are you not a man unless you got two, three, four different women. So they intertwine that sexuality and masculinity when it's just a part of who
Right.
we are as men.
Okay. Valid. Okay. I feel you. Okay. Good start. All right. So if you've been a listener or watcher of this podcast, prize is the name of this podcast, man, or the prize. Prize is the primary part of it. I take four of the letters in prize. Each letter represents a word that I think represents good characteristics of being a man. We're going to go through these words and we're going to talk about it and we're going to get into it. The first letter in the word prize is P, and that represents purpose. Purpose is defined a reason for which something is done or created or for which something exists. So, Doctor, what is your purpose?
Wow. Ooh, that is a
We
good
go hard,
one.
baby. We go right
I
into it.
see you.
Let's
You just
go.
you throwing that fastball right down the middle at 95 miles an
Exactly.
hour.
You got the bat, baby. Let's see. Let's go.
I love that. I love that. But my purpose, as I mentioned before, is it's tied to enlightening, empowering, and impacting. It's tied to teaching people something, equipping people with something, and impacting people to want to do something. And I put it like this: part of that is making people better. Our purpose is to make people better. Every encounter, my desire is that every encounter that anyone has with me, that they come away being better, which is they come away being better after the encounter with me than they were before the encounter that they had with me. So that's how I see my purpose is making people better. And I talk about this every single day when I do my motivational videos and everything. I talk about is to make you better by the end of the year than you were at the beginning of the year, and I do that by trying to give people knowledge, information, and resources that they can use right away.
Okay. Okay. Did you have a Dr. Leroy growing up?
Did I have a?
Did you have somebody like you growing up?
Not necessarily not necessarily when I was younger, when I was a young kid. My dad was around. My dad was there, but not as much as I would say other fathers were, but not totally absent like other fathers were. So I had him there, and he was a strong force in my life. But there were a few other guiding men that placed in my life. And then once I got into my young adult years, it was my pastor. I've been a member of my church for over since I was 23, and I'm 53, and my birthday's tomorrow, so I'll be 54 tomorrow.
Happy
so,
happy birthday
so,
coming.
so,
Okay. Mhm.
so you talk. I'm talking almost 30 years now. So that I've been a member of my church, and those years being under his guidance and being around those men that I was around at my church because I was purposeful. And my mom was always purposeful too in making sure that I had positive men in my life that were able to that I could see and that I could actually, bend their ear if needed to, or if there were people that there were men that I could see that I could want to be like. That
Okay.
was, those are the men that were in my life.
Okay. Okay. So, I mean, you mentioned your father was around, so I guess primarily your mother was the one who raised you, I would imagine.
Mhm.
How did being raised by your mother affect your masculinity?
I'll give you a story.
Okay.
Um, 14 years old, my mother says, "I think you need to go stay with your father. You need him in your life, and you need to have that male figure around." I was going into high school. So I was leaving the private school that I was going to, and my father was a phys ed teacher and coach, high school football coach, basketball coach, track coach, all those things, on the high school level. So he was transferring from one of the high schools here into one of the other high schools here. So I went to that school because he was going there. So my freshman year in high school, I spent that year with him, under him. He was my high school basketball coach, um, and all of those things. So I was around him um, 24/7 at that time. And even before then, I would spend summers with him. I would spend summers in the school year. When I got out, I was with him, hanging at the school. I was a little kid running around in the gym that the kids saw and everything like that. So I had that impact. But um, once I butted heads. I'll put that with my dad. I was just like, you know what, is not this is not gonna work.
Okay.
Because he was very strict. He
Okay.
was a pastor, so he was very strict, and my mother was, she was, church going and everything too, but it wasn't as strict as my father was. So I was just like, Mom won't come back home. So she said, fine, that's fine, that's good and everything like that. But she allowed me to be able to become the man that I am. But she would always tell me, I can't teach you how to be a man. I don't know. That's something that I can't do. I can
Okay.
give you everything else, but I
Mhm.
cannot give that to you
Mhm.
because
Okay.
it's not what I know.
That's good. Um, Recognizing that she can just be a fantastic mother, but
Correct.
being the part of you that needs the male guidance. She couldn't do that. I think the fact that she made sure that you had men who could
Right.
fulfill that role and make sure that you were surrounded by them, that's the sign of a good parent. Making sure
Yeah.
that whatever may be lacking for me,
Correct.
it's given to you some way, another way. And
Correct.
that's a beautiful thing as a parent. Um, what is my question in regards to purpose? When did you realize that what you do now is what you were meant to do?
Mm. Well, I actually that has come over the past 10 years, because if you'd have asked me about being an entrepreneur and everything like that? I said yes, because I've always had that entrepreneurial mindset and spirit in me,
Mhm.
for some reason. And my mother was always, and my dad, they always taught me that you could be anything that you wanted to be. Now, if you'd asked me if that entrepreneurship looked like the books that I've written and impacting people this way, I said no, it didn't look like that for me. I that's not the way I intended it.
Okay.
Maybe I would have been a hotel owner. That was because that's what I'm still planning to do. That's still on my to do list, is being a own a hotel. But it was going to be that track of being an entrepreneur. Um, it was because that was my major in college, hotel restaurant management.
Mhm.
So that was what I saw, what I knew, what I wanted, and everything. So it didn't look like this, but it was what I knew I wanted to do. But the funny thing is, you can have all the plans that you want to in life, but as we get older, we figure out, hey, what we think our life is going to be like, what it looks like is nothing, has nothing to do
Never.
with what it what
Never.
has nothing to do
Never.
with what it turns out to be. It's just
Mm-mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm. You can plan all you want. Life is gonna do what it do. Oh no, I'm supposed
it's
to own
going to do what it
hotels.
do.
No, I'm
Absolutely.
doing something else entirely different. Yes.
No.
Yes, yes. It's so important in being able to recognize, being able to kind of bob and weave through life, because life is just a
Right.
boxing match, but you never know where the punch is coming from. And you got to be able
Yep.
to deal. So being able to handle life's twists and turns are so important. So important.
Yeah.
Um, I want to ask you, what do you think? Is it important? And I'll just give you my answer. I definitely think it's important. But do you think it is important for Black men, boys, men growing up to have a purpose in life? And if so, why do you think it's important?
Yeah. You've to me, you've got to have a purpose. You've got to. It's a must, because to me, it's the driving force to who we become as a man, as men. If you don't have a purpose and you feel as if you don't belong, that's honestly, that's where a lot of us as black men have gotten lost, because we didn't feel like we don't feel like we have a purpose, like you talked about before, about that it's just something about us black men. And when we feel as if we don't have a purpose, we don't have a voice, and if we don't belong, then we take this life, and we can find ourselves being manipulated, being miseducated about what this manhood thing is, what it is to be a man. And we get all of that, gets all messed up,
Mhm.
and the dropout rates get even higher because of it, because we feel as if we don't belong. Even in high school, we feel as if we don't belong, and we don't have a purpose. And I tell you, the and I'm so grateful. In high school, I had her name, and I call her my second mother, Miss Jean Reagan, and I love her to death, because she took this 14, 15-year-old boy and talked to him and made him understand the importance of having a purpose, and understanding what life was going to be like down the road. you know when you got out into this world that we live in, that you and I both know, this world don't care nothing about you. It'll chew you up, spit you out, spin
Mhm.
you around, and be like, I'm done with
Right.
you. If you don't have that purpose driven mindset. But what it takes to get that is people believing in you, people hearing you as a young man, and then going into young adulthood, and then even into adulthood. You got grown men now that still don't have a purpose, feel they don't have a purpose, man. So it's a must. It's a must that we have.
Excellent. Excellent answer. What I took from that one, agree with you entirely. reason, and I mentioned this earlier, the reason I created this podcast, I wanted a space for Black men to speak, to be heard. And a lot of us as we grow up, and a lot of us have at least a parent. Hopefully dad is there, mom usually is there. But in some cases, what we're going through is not something we're comfortable talking about with just anyone.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm not going to talk about the fact that I didn't make the football team with my mom, or the fact that the first girl I was really feeling wasn't feeling me at all, or all these whatever issues you have going through in life. It's hard enough trying to grow up and be a teenager, then add on the fact I'm a teenage boy, then add on the fact I'm a Black teenage boy. There's so much, it just kind of builds and it gets more and more difficult, which is why it is so important on these years that we have someone to talk to. And it's not even almost about what, it's just the fact that there is someone to talk to. So when I hear Black men and you talk about you had someone who was talking to you, who was listening to you growing up, it's so rare. It really is. Because not only do you get it out, but you're comfortable doing it. So it helps you in the future to be able to talk to somebody. So I'm so glad that you had somebody to talk to. And the fact that and I'm assuming Black woman, or just, was that a Black woman?
Yes, yes,
Okay,
yes,
so that
absolutely.
makes it even better. That makes, because she knew what you were going through to a degree, and she talked to you, and she just talked to you,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that's beautiful.
yeah.
That's
She was my algebra 1 and algebra 2 teacher, and used to pick on me, man. And I'd just be like, Miss Reagan, why are you always picking on me? But she said, Leroy, she said, because I know you know how to do the work. I know you can do it. I know you know how to do it. So I'm making you. She did. She made me better because I hated math. I did not like math, but I knew the things that I had to do in order to be able to pass her class. And I would stay after class. Honestly, I would stay after class. She would ask me to clean up boards and everything, like wash her boards, and then she would take me home because I didn't live too far from her. But
okay.
those rides home, man, would be her having conversations with me and teaching me about just life. Wasn't even it was what had to do with school. It was just about life. Got me into the Upward Bound program that's here, or it's still going on, but I think it's only in Morgan now. But at the time, it was the Gilman Upward Bound program, which is a program that city schools had that would assist city Baltimore city schools. You were tutoring on the weekends, on Saturdays. You go to
Okay.
school 6 days a week, pretty much, and then during the summer, we would spend the summer on the college campus, and we
Okay.
would be taking the classes that we were getting for the next year. So
Okay.
we were, as a consequence, we were ahead of everybody going into the next year.
Good.
So
Wow.
yeah, so someone seeing that in you and saying, "Hey, I want to," because I know you're a good kid. I know you're a great kid, and I want to make sure that you're one of the ones that does and maximizes your potential, your purpose. Understand that you can find your purpose in living.
That's
So
good. That's good. I'm
yeah,
glad you had somebody like that. Okay, let's
yeah.
keep it moving. The next letter in the word prize is R. The word is resilience, the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties and toughness. So, can you think of a situation, something that's happened in your life where you discovered you had resilience that you did not know you had?
I don't know if I can tell this story on your
You can say
um
anything, brother. Now
on
you
your
have to.
show, man.
I told you,
I
tell it all.
well, I told you that I my major was hotel restaurant management, and um, there was a property that I opened along with our general manager. I was the assistant GM, and then one of the guys that's my closest friend now. We opened this property here locally in Columbia, Maryland, and our district manager did not like us, and
Hmm,
I'll say it like that, did not
got you.
like us.
Understood.
And he and I were us, did
Right.
not like us. She tells me that as long as she is the district manager, I would never become a GM.
Mm,
To my face,
mm, mm.
told me this. So I knew then, hey, you know what? okay, that's how we're gonna play it. Cool. I told my buddy, I told him who he had become the GM because we had been working there, and then the GM that we had there, she had moved to another property. He had gone to another property, had become a GM. I was still at that property as the assistant GM, and she didn't make me a GM at that time when she could have. But then a little while after that, that's when she told me this, and then brought my friend back there as the GM. So he and I have been working together for a time. And when she said that, I told him, I was like, look, dude, I said, I'm not doing this. I said, we're working, he and I were doing 65 to 75 hours each a week at this property. I mean, I'm talking, we had that we had that property running like a well-oiled machine, which they didn't like because we were doing what we were supposed to do and handling others and doing it very well. So I was like, dude, I'm not gonna kill myself for somebody else. I said, and on top of that, they don't even care about, us. So as a consequence, I said, look, I said I'm gone, and I wound up finding another job and moved on from there. Um, and consequently found another job, but then also a little while after that, several years after that, that's when I started JNF Enterprises because I was like, look, I know I want my own business, and I'm not going to be in this corporate America because I didn't fit.
Right.
Just I knew I didn't fit. So I had to, create my own and be able to do the things that I wanted to do. And there was so much that I'd seen working in corporate America. So I came up with, with those things that I felt like could make corporate America better and being able to teach organizations how to be better in what they do. So that's my resilience
Okay.
story.
I hear you. Okay. How do you think, as Black men, when we deal with the corporate experience, any experience when we step out of our house and we go out into the world, how does it benefit a Black man to deal with the world, to deal with whatever, the stereotypical treatment, the racism, all that stuff? How does it benefit a man who's been through some ish in some businesses, on the streets, anywhere? How does that help a man in life?
Well, here's how it's helped me. So I'll make it personal. It has made me stronger. It has made me I won't say wiser, but more knowledgeable. It has made me have a better understanding of what it takes in order to be able to achieve what I want to achieve in my business. And I say like this, me and my buddy, we have a saying when things are tough, and this is what the district managers used to just tell us when there were things that we needed to get done and she didn't care about it. She said, handle it. So he and I have this joke. We go through something, we talk about things, we just be like, handle it. And it's like literally like that. Do what you need to do, pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and handle it. Figure it out. And that's what many times that he had to do or I had to do, figure it out. You have to figure it out. And and my dad used to tell me, nobody owes you anything. Nobody's going to give you anything. You're gonna have to work for it. You're gonna have to earn it. So what do? I
Okay.
think as Black men, we've had to just figure it
Yes.
out.
Oh, yes. That's
We've had to
it.
just handle it.
That's life.
You know?
That I feel like that's what it's. I think that's being a man in general.
Yeah,
It's like we
yeah,
just yeah, stuff happens. Things are thrown. The walls are built in our face. What are you?
yep,
We ain't got time to complain about it, man. What we
right.
need to do, hey, what you gonna do?
Yeah,
And
you
that's
know,
everything. That's business. That's life. That's
yeah,
family. Stuff is happening
honestly,
around us. What you gonna do about it? I ain't got time to hear the complaints. How you
yeah,
solving things?
yep,
How you gonna handle it? I like that, and that's fact. And to a degree, you talk about that in in the corporate world, but
hmm
that's very much life in general. Being
yeah,
able to just deal with whatever's thrown in your face. How we gonna handle it? We ain't got time to complain.
Yeah. Yep.
That's true. So true. I like it. We're gonna skip the next letter in the word prize. That's I. I'm gonna come back to that. The next
Okay.
letter is Z. The word is zeal. So separate from family and separate from the work that you do. Let's put those two things aside. Zeal is defined as enthusiastic devotion. What are you enthusiastically devoted to?
Mm. Wow, I like that, man. You coming with some really good questions. I
You know
love
how
this.
late it is. I'm not gonna keep you up with some, some wimpy questions. I'm
I
bringing the heat,
love
baby.
this. Yeah, man. And I'll say it like this: what gets me up in the morning? What I have zeal for? Is and this may, I hope it doesn't sound corny or cliche, is making people better. I enjoy seeing people be better. When I get someone that says to me, you know, your what what you brought to me means more to me. I'm gonna give you an example. I'm a part of the honor guard at my church, right? And our leader of the honor guard is very sick, right? Very sick. So several weeks ago, he calls me and he says, "Hey man, I just want to call you to let you know that I love you and I appreciate you being in my life." I almost dropped the phone. I literally almost dropped. Here, this man is dealing with a terminal illness. He takes time to call me and say, "I'm glad and happy that you have been a part of my life." I'm just like, blew me away. So when you have somebody that touches you that way, or that you know that you have conversations, that's your church family, you love them, but when they take the time out to call you and show you how much they appreciate you, that's zealousness right there, man.
I hear
That
that, man.
that I can't put anything on that. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And I'm grateful for something like that because of the way that it made me feel. And
Yeah,
hopefully the way that it made him feel, telling him, "Man, that feeling is so mutual. I thank you for being in my life."
that's good.
And it was that was a moment and a feeling that you don't get with everybody,
Mhm.
you know.
Okay. So
So
true.
that would be one story that I would say.
So hearing you say that, it just brought up an interesting question. So I'll ask you in
Okay.
a second. So it's good to help people. It's good to get that acknowledgement. So you kind of know that the time and the effort that you're putting in, somebody appreciates it. When I hear that, I think about, because this podcast is for men, I think about men in general.
Mhm.
So aside from that call, when was the last time you got a compliment?
Oh, it's been recently. I'm trying to think of I he's one of my friends, but also one of my clients as well too, because I manage his property that he has here, and he and I have conversations. We talk, and he works overseas, so he's not here in the states. But
Okay,
he's like, "Man, I appreciate everything that you do for me." Because he's over there. He's entrusting me to his belongings here, which is his property that's here, and
right.
taking care of the things that need to get taken care of there. So he's like, "Look," he told me, he literally said, "I appreciate you. I
Okay.
appreciate all that you do for me." So that's the last compliment that I got.
I asked that because a lot of times I've heard statements like the first time a man gets flowers is at his funeral. There's a
Mm,
lot,
mhm.
compliments are very rare to men. It's not,
Yeah,
and I don't know if it's something that bothers men because we're not expecting it, but it hits us harder in a really good way when we get it because it's so rare. for
Yeah.
men. To have some, even the simplest of things. I mean, somebody saying, thank you, I appreciate you, and that's a beautiful
Yep.
thing. But, God forbid you just walking down the street and somebody's like, brother, that suit is, wow, brother, you looking good today. Like that
Yeah.
hits a man different.
Yeah, it does. It really does. It really does. And that's see, it's a shame that that it is like that because we would hope that that would be such a natural thing that would happen to us. But it goes to like you were saying earlier, where we just or what we were saying earlier, where we just we go not even we don't have the expectation of it, but then two, we don't have the expectation of it because it's not seen as the norm. It's just not seen as what oh dad, that's just dad. Get him get him a tie, get him a pair of socks. You know,
Right. Right.
dad is
Exactly.
dad. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm,
Those
mhm,
those kinds of things. So it's unfortunate that we do. So we do. I think we do appreciate it more because it is such a rarity. But it shouldn't. To me, it shouldn't be a rarity that we
mhm.
do get it.
Agreed. And because we know that,
Yeah.
I try my best every day to compliment a man
Oh, me
because
too.
I know how I feel when I get one.
Yeah.
And when you compliment a man and he's not and we never expect it. So when
Right.
you compliment a man, you can see like there's a visual like, thank you. Like what? Like it's different because like your day's better. Like, wow, somebody
Yeah.
likes the way I look. Like you feeling yourself for a little while for the rest of the day. You know, and we don't always get that. So if anything, if that's something you could ever do, we know how good it feels.
Yeah.
Spread that out, brother. The
Yeah.
haircut. You just get a shape up, fam. You looking good. I got business. I see you. I see. It's the little things, how we talk to a brother that we can just send out happiness. We can extend happiness to the men around us.
Yeah.
So when I heard you say that, a good compliment can go a long way.
Yeah.
It can go a
Absolutely.
real long way. The last letter in the word prize is E. The word is expectation, a strong belief that something will happen or be the case in the future. So, what do you expect of JNF Enterprises in 5 years? Where's JNF Enterprises going to be?
In 5 years, I'm expecting JNF Enterprises to be a honestly, I'm gonna say it like this. I'm expecting it to be $1 million company. Um, that's what I'm pushing for. That's what I know I've got to work for. Um, that's the ultimate goal for it is to become that impactful. Um, I'm expecting it to be an even more impactful company internationally. Because to me it's not just about here in the States, but it's about impact people worldwide. Impacting, like you said, impacting men, not just here, not just black men here. There's black men around the world that need this, brother.
Yes, sir.
That need this.
Yes.
So that's where I see JNF Enterprises in 5 years.
Where are you, Dr. Leroy? You gonna be in 5 years? And I mean you in the spiritual, in your mental health sense. 5 years from now, are you going to be in a better place? Do you need to be in a better place? Where do you see, where's the progression for you 5 years from now?
Well, and it's funny you say that because when I knew I was coming on your show and I knew you had an acronym for prize, and I didn't know it because I was looking for it. I'm gonna tell you, I was looking for it. I was looking to find it. I
I
was
keep it
trying to
hidden,
find
baby.
it,
I
but I
keep
could
it.
but I couldn't find. I'll tell you, I couldn't find it. But but I knew I was coming on, and I'm an acronym guy just like you. And the P that I have for prize is progressive, always moving forward, always progressing. And like I told you, it's always about being better, not just making people better, but making me better. And I read, there was two books that stood out last year, but one of them was called The Slight Edge. And in this book, the author talks about being 1% better each day. He said if you increase being better just by 1%, doing something that you wouldn't have ordinarily done, or accomplishing something that you wouldn't have ordinarily done, just by 1% each day. And in a year's time, you'll be 365% better than you were. And that's that beginning of the year versus the end of the year, man. So that's the progression that I want to see in me. Each and every day. It's working to try and get better. Do I always get it right? Absolutely not. Don't get it right, mess up, fail, all of those things. But I know at the end of the day that it's about me. What do I learn from those things that I didn't do well, or that I might have failed at, that will help me to be able to be better? How do I be better from what that taught me? How do I progress? Okay, that didn't work that way. Let's see if it works this way. So for me, it is always about that that incremental progression. Even with my company, it's about incrementally progressing. Are we better than we were yesterday? Are we better than we were last month? Are we better than we were last year? All of those things. Same thing with me. Am I better than I was yesterday? Am I better than I was last month, 2 months ago, 6 months ago, a year ago? Am I always better? So that's what progression is
Okay.
for me.
All right. The last letter in P.R.I.Z.E, but in because of the order that I go in, it's the I in the middle. And it doesn't represent a word. It represents the man that I'm speaking to. So
Mm.
let's take away the titles. If that is business owner, entrepreneur, GM, friend, employee, father, husband, whatever, all the things that we can be. Let's put all that stuff aside. When it's just you chilling at your core, who are you?
Mm. Who am I? I am someone who, I love to laugh. So I like to enjoy life. You know what I'm saying? And not be not be so serious all the time.
Mhm.
But folks tell me, "Well, you need to relax." Well, yeah, I do, but those who are in my close circle, they know. I laugh, joke, have great conversations. Um, I'm someone who is passionate about those that are around me. Passionate about being a good person. I want to be a good person, because as my mother and father used to always say, you don't do anything to mess up the name. So I don't want
Mm,
to do anything to
area. I
embarrass,
like that.
you know,
I like
to
that.
embarrass
Yeah.
God or embarrass them. So I want to live my life in such a way that people, when they talk about me, they can say, well, that's Melva's son. And they tell her, yeah, I met your son. He's a great young man. That makes me feel that makes me feel better than anything else, when people can say that to my mother, and she sees that the work that she put in
Mhm.
and poured into me did work, and that it's something that she can, even with me and my sisters, my two sisters, that with all of us, she can say, wow, you know what? Yeah, that sacrifice that I did do for them paid off.
Okay.
And just the last thing is just, you know, who am I? I'm just a young guy that grew up in Baltimore, that could have been a statistic, but is still here at 53, going on 54. And his hopefully touch the lives of people, and touch the lives of people in such a way that, like you said, that they just come away better, man. They come away better after that conversation, after that encounter with me, and say, wow, that was a good deal. I really enjoyed that conversation. That was a good conversation that, that I had with him. Those are, when I think about me, I just think about those things, and I think about, honestly, hopefully, what people say about me, because it's not just about what they say in front of you, but it's what they say when you're not around.
Yes, sir.
You
Yes,
know.
sir. It's a great answer. It's great. So many things that you said hit me. For me, I'm a father. I have 4 kids. And when you're talking about, you're not gonna mess up the name. When you step out into the world, you are your mother's child. You're very much her agent to the world.
Yep.
While you go out there, well, like you said, you are her son. And when you step out, you are very much every action, every word, everything you do is a representation of that name.
Yep.
So it's prideful to go out into the world and be successful, but it's even more prideful to know that you helped raise that person.
Yeah.
So yeah, I take so much pride in being a Black father. I
Mhm.
send my kids out into the world. I have an 18-year-old son.
Uh-huh.
He's gonna succeed. He thinks he knows everything. He don't know a thing because we didn't at 18. We didn't have a clue. But
But
he's
we think
out
we
there.
know
We
everything.
think we know it all. We haven't even
We-
scratched the surface.
Not
We
your
have
service.
he don't know a thing,
Don't know
nothing.
nothing.
But you know what he is? He is respectful. He is polite. He is chivalrous. He is
Yep.
all the things that I and his wife and his mom taught him. He
Yep.
is a good person. The rest I can work on. I can
Right.
help him. I can push him in the right direction. But at the
Right.
very least, we molded a good person. The
Right.
rest you throw off. That's Harvey's son. I know that kid. I know what he's going to do in a situation.
Right.
Kids, I love it. Kids are very much the mirror. They are our mirrors. How
Mhm.
does your kid handle conflict? That's how you do it. How does your daughter handle bad situations? That's how you did it.
Yeah.
When your
Yeah.
kids go out into the world and they handle tough situations well, you did something right. I take that to me, I'm feeling myself when my kids are doing well.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
it's so important because if I'm good, my kids are good, I'm probably a good person. It's
Yep.
probably not by accident that my kids are successful. It's because I was a pretty good person. So when I hear discussion about parents or children, it just, because I love my kids and I like seeing them succeed, but I like hearing parental talk also. So clearly you were raised in a good home and a man whose purpose is to help other people. Your mother couldn't be any prouder than she is. I'm sure she loves knowing what you do, walking these streets, you helping these people willingly. And that's somewhat rare. So again, I applaud you, doctor.
Thank
Um, a few last questions I thought. So thanks for answering questions in the prize mantra. What are you afraid of that you can not control?
you. Ooh. What am I afraid of that I cannot control? Well, that's the thing, because I guess I would say I'm afraid of the unknown, because it's not I mean, our next hour, our next minute isn't promised to us. So not knowing the day, the time, nor the hour that hey, it's your time. You don't have control over that. As far as my business is concerned, what I'm afraid of, and what I don't have control over, is just how people take what it is that I do, the products and services that I do. And I say that in the way that you can have the best product, you can have the best service in the world, but to some people, it's never enough. And I learned that being in the hospitality industry, having to be the manager on duty, MOD, and dealing with um the overbooking, where and what that is you would have a sold out weekend, sold out day, where everybody shows up. And in the hospitality industry, there's always a percentage of people that are not going to show up,
Right.
right? You get 10. It was usually a 10% that we kind of gauge. But there's those times that everybody shows up, and you have to wind up taking those that are remain or that get late, and you don't have any more rooms. You got to walk them to another hotel, and it doesn't matter what you say.
Mm-hmm.
They
They're not
ain't happy.
happy.
They ain't
Uh,
not
mm-mm, mm-mm,
they,
mm-mm.
they ain't not happy.
I
You
booked at
know.
your place. Why am I not staying there? That's nice. That's not what I paid for.
now, now it does make it a little easier if when they know that they're getting their night paid for and they don't have to
Right.
pay for it. But that
That
makes it a
helps.
little easier. But the inconvenience and you can apologize. Even I'll give you an example with the situation that just happened with Southwest. It doesn't matter what they do. They, it doesn't matter. They can say all they want to. Them folks not happy.
I hear that. I hear that.
You know. And so those are the kinds of things that when you don't have, I know when I don't have control over those, situations like that with my product, with my service, because I can put it out there, I can give it to you, but some people they're looking for an excuse to be able to, complain, or they're looking for an excuse to try and get over on you or to get something from you. So those are the kinds of things that that I would say I'm most afraid of.
Okay. In regards to your business, let's just squeeze it a little bit. In
Mhm.
regards to your business, what are you afraid of that you can control?
Yeah, and this may sound crazy. What I'm afraid of is honestly sometimes you talked about my resume, and it's just like, okay, I have to keep doing this. It's some people, and I'm not afraid of some people are afraid of failure. Some people are afraid of success
Mhm.
because success means you got to keep on doing what you're doing. So having to, and I'm not afraid of success, but it's having to knowing, hey, you've got to keep grinding day after make it happen each and every single day. Get up to that challenge each and every single day. And honestly, some days you don't feel like it. You're like, I'm
Mhm.
tired. you know, how do I get through this? So, and you don't want to let yourself down, but two, you don't want to let others down either. So that's the part that scares. I don't want to let other people down with that.
Okay. That's a valid question. Success. I what I got from that is that once you're successful, people, and most importantly yourself, you expect nothing less.
Yeah, yeah.
You've
But that's what
done
makes
good.
the great great.
Exactly. I've done good things. I can't slack now. You see this bio? It needs another paragraph. What am I going to do now?
yeah.
And, and, and you need that drive. We need that drive. My last question for you, I feel it kind of rolls off with this. What is your advice to Black men who are coming up? Maybe we're high schoolers, maybe we're in college and we want to succeed. What are you telling these boys who are about to become men on how they can succeed in life? What's the secret?
Well, here's what I believe. My secret. First thing I'm gonna tell them is never stop believing. Always believe in you. Always. I don't care what it. Believe in who you are at your core. Never stop believing in you, because the minute you stop believing in you, nobody else is gonna believe in you. I promise you that. So that's the first thing. But the second thing, and it has to do with my mantra for this year, and it's about having unlocked limitations. Don't put a lock on the limitations of who you want to be and who you are, because if you unlock those limitations, then you'll find yourself succeeding and going higher and higher and higher and higher, because you've mastered the possibilities of becoming better and being better. and to me, it's not about success. It's about creating. My thing this year is about create value. How am I creating value in myself? How do I create value in others? I think if we stick to that and do those things in life, we will be successful.
Excellent. That's a perfect way. I love this conversation. How can people find you? Social media, website? Where can they get into JNF Enterprises? This is throw it at us.
Well,
All
here's
this will
the
be there,
easiest
so no, too, but go ahead.
Yeah, and I don't have to give all of the with technology. I'm so grateful for technology. You don't have to go through the whole Facebook and Instagram. If you go to http colon / link tree, and that's linktr.ee / Enterprises. It'll give you all of my YouTube channel, my Facebook, Instagram. I'm not going to say that other one. LinkedIn, all of those channels that you can go to and connect with me in order to be able to, in order to be able to connect with me and to be able to get any of the products and services.
Excellent. His information will be in the episode notes. So when you're looking for Dr. Leroy McKenzie Jr., go to the episode notes. You will find him. Reach out to him. Check the website, the YouTube, everything. Get involved in this man who's here to help you succeed. The first step to wanting to succeed is finding somebody who can help you. Somebody never hurts to have a mentor, somebody who's been through it. And obviously, just by speaking to this man, it's obvious this is a person who will lead you in the right direction. I appreciate this conversation so very much. Thank you so much, Doctor. I
Thank you
appreciate
for
it.
having me. I appreciate you as well, man. This has been a rich conversation, is what I call it. Rich conversation.
Oh, it was so rich. I love it. Thank you to you. Thank you to the listeners or the watchers who watch this podcast. I do this. It's a labor of love. I love talking to men. I love hearing men speak. It's the best part of the day for me is when I hear men speaking positivity and light into the world for everybody to hear. Thank you to Kristen McGriff. She does the intro and the outro for this podcast. Smooth voice coming in, smooth voice heading out. And I'm going to leave you with this. I read an incredible bio at the beginning of this episode. Dr. Leroy has done much. And as a young man, we got 3 full paragraphs left. There's more to get done. He will accomplish more. But I want you, if nothing else from this episode, when you create your bio, when you create the story of your life, we can accomplish a lot, education, businesses, all this stuff. But if your bio has a list of people who you have helped, who are better because you were there, then nobody can have a better bio than you. Take your time and make sure we help everybody around us. And never, ever forget, brothers, you are the man and you are the prize. I'll see you next week.
I love that.
Thank you, sir.